everybody, welcome back to the Dusra show. We are here with the mid-innings analysis of this first one-day international between India and West Indies. And we are here to talk about what happened with the West Indies innings. West Indies were bowled out for 176 in 43.5 overs, and the best bowlers for India were Yuzvendra Chahal, who picked up 4 for 49, Washington Sundar in his comeback game picked up 3 for 30, and Prasidh Krishna picked up 2 for 29 for West Indies. The top scorer was Jason Holder, who finished on 57 of 71 deliveries with 4 sixes. I've got with me my two colleagues, Ritik Sen and Rishad Paivadia. Ritik, first question to you.
Sure.
Very, very ordinary effort by West Indies with the bat. They just seem to be at 6s and 7s against the spin of India.
Extremely disappointing innings from the West Indies point of view, barring Jason Holder and Allen to an extent, where they sort of stemmed the rot in the middle and built on that 78-run partnership. Everybody else seemed completely at sea playing the Indian bowlers, especially the Indian spinners. And 176 on a track that we know suits batting is obviously a very, very poor effort. And West Indies are not going to be happy with that, and they'll be looking into some serious questions and answers in terms of where did they go wrong, what was wrong, was it the application, was it brilliant bowling by India? I think India just bowled to their plan. West Indies just played a poor innings, barring, like I mentioned, Holder and Fabio Allen.
Nishad, coming to you, this is India's 1000th ODI, and it is a momentous occasion for Indian one-day international cricket. You couldn't have asked for a more perfect performance. What do you make of the fact that Yuzvendra Chahal, who's been under the pump in recent times, he had an ordinary tour of South Africa, Washington Sundar's coming back after a long layoff, coming back and really spinning a web around the West Indies. Would India be tempted, like we discussed during the match as well, would India be tempted to maybe add one more spinner to their lineup? Because clearly West Indies have some kind of weakness that can be exploited against the spin.
Yes, I think the temptation would be there, but then again, in whose place would that another spinner play? And you can't have two wrist spinners who are similar. I think you can only play one out of either Chahal or Ravi Bishnoi. Like, it's a different case if you're playing Kuldeep and Chahal, because both are turning the ball different ways, and they are technically both maybe wrist spinners, but they are different bowlers. Now, Bishnoi and Chahal are similar bowlers. So at some point, Bishnoi, I expect him to get a chance. But now that Chahal has performed well, he deserves a longer run in the side as well. And Chahal, for a while, we saw that particularly after the retirement of MS Dhoni, didn't quite hold on to his spot. Of course, India didn't play as many ODIs, but we also saw the decline of Kuldeep Yadav. Now, Chahal, ever since he was dropped from the T20 World Cup squad, I've seen a very different Chahal, particularly during the IPL. More fired up. I mean, he's obviously, all the fire, all the motivation was inside earlier, but he was more expressive in his celebrations, which showed a lot more determination for him. He showed that he wanted to prove a point. And I think this is a very good spell for him, and just good wishes to him, because I still think he's got a lot in him to serve Indian cricket in limited overs.
Chase will begin very shortly for India. India will have a new opening pair from the one they had in South Africa. This not necessitated because of form, but because of COVID-19 and because KL Rahul is not available for this first game. Ritik, excited to see Ishan Kishan opening the batting for India, and probably he could set the stage for India and wrap up the innings quite quickly.
For somebody like Ishan Kishan, this is actually a dream situation, because one, he's going to go out with Rohit Sharma, who he has played with as Mumbai Indian teammates. And when you have somebody like Rohit Sharma at the other end, who's a natural stroke maker in itself, that takes a lot of pressure off you. The target also is not a very, very large one. It's just 176 runs. So I feel Ishan Kishan will have the license to go big early on and just play his natural game. The management will probably tell him, just go play your natural game, don't hold back. Worst case scenario, there are other people to follow. So, and if he plays that way, we've seen how Ishan Kishan can bat if he gets going. We should be in for a really fun start to the Indian innings.
That should be fun.
Just an anecdote about Ishan Kishan, and I first met him when I was working with the Gujarat Lions IPL team, and it was his first year in the IPL. And I remember that year, Chandresh, you might also remember that the way Virat Kohli was batting, he scored 973 runs that year in the IPL, and it was me and one of the coaches and Ishan Kishan. We were sitting, during after one of the practice sessions, and Ishan Kishan just said, I wonder how Virat Kohli manages that much consistency. And one of the coaches then told him, you know what, Ishan, at some stage we would expect you to do the same because we believe that you can do it. And the look on his face was one that he had really absorbed it. And the next year that I saw Ishan Kishan, he had brought in a lot of lessons on board. And every year that I've seen him, he's gotten fitter and fitter in a sense that he looked at Virat Kohli, saw what he was doing, and tried to imbibe that. I've seen Ishan Kishan only getting fitter and fitter every year and getting those more runs, looking more determined. Yes, he's got that flashy streak about him when it comes to batting, but with that comes also a lot of discipline and a lot of character behind him. And he's got a lot of that, and he's really matured over the years faster than most youngsters do. So I think this is a good opportunity for him.
Yeah, and I think even for India's point of view, Chandesh and Nishad, the fact that we will have that right-left combination going up front, that in itself could also be an advantage and something to test out. How well does it, we've seen it in the past. We've had success with somebody like Dhawan and whether it's Rohit or Rahul at the other end. So that combination always tends to put bowlers off a bit. So it'll be interesting to see how India actually use it to their advantage and try and get some proper match practice scenario out of it, and then it'll help them with decisions moving forward.
Absolutely, and it's going to be a different opening style as well because Dhawan likes to build his innings, Rohit likes to build his innings, Rahul likes to build his innings, but Ishan could probably give us an indication of what the future holds for India in the 50-over format and even the T20 format if required, where he can open the innings and really give it a go from the very first over.
It's right, Chandresh, but I'll bring in one more point. I'm sorry I'm cutting you off, and you spoke about the power. I've got a number for that, and that is the 2020 IPL. Ishan Kishan was the leading six-hitter of the tournament. This is ahead of the likes of Kieron Pollard, ahead of the likes of AB de Villiers, Virat Kohli, obviously not the biggest of six-hitters, but he used to get them quite fairly regularly, ahead of Rohit Sharma, ahead of all of them, and that at a very young age. So it tells you that he believes in the power game.
Absolutely right. And now comes the big question. Can India wrap it up quickly, and how many overs? Nishad first.
I think India will wrap it up. I got my first prediction horribly wrong. I thought West Indies could pull off a surprise. But I think now India, this game is in their bag. They just have to finish it with a matured approach, not do anything needless. But I would also like to see how Fabian Allen and Akeal Hussain bowl on this wicket. That is something that really interests me.
That's interesting. Ritik, what's your take?
I wouldn't want this innings, the Indian innings, to go beyond, say, 30 to 35 overs max, because that will be a statement of intent in itself.
So I guess you have a dinner appointment somewhere.
Well, not yet, but I might actually be tempted to do that if India actually do it.
Because you're already 90 minutes behind us. So 30, 35 overs means that your evening's still young.
Yes, absolutely.
So even I hope that they wrap it up in about 30, 35 overs. It's going to be an interesting contest and it's going to be an interesting battle. As Nishad said, those overs by Akeal Hussain and Fabian Allen, that's going to be the one to look out for. And that will be an interesting battle of sorts to watch out for. And we'll be back soon with the live coverage of the Indian innings, the Indian reply to the West Indies total of 176. Thanks a lot for joining us on this mid-innings analysis of this first one-day international of this 3-match series.